In last week's Parsha, it was the giving of the Torah, the epic giving of the Torah, and it says in the Parsha, when we were given the Torah, we were Ki'ish echad b'lev echad, one nation with one heart. It was the complete unification of the Jewish people. This week's Parsha, Parshas Mishpatim, is a continuation of the giving the Torah. But interestingly, this week we have actually 3 Sefer Torahs that we bring out. Because this week we have 3 special days. Number 1, it's Parshas Mishpatim. Number 2, it is Rosh Chodesh. So we read that we have a second Sefer Torah to celebrate the new month, Rosh Chodesh. And number 3, it's what's called Parshas Shkalim, the Parsha of the half a shekel. And that's the 3rd Sefer Torah. That's what we end with, and we do the Haftarah of the Parsha of Shkalim. What is the Parsha of Shkalim? Well, on a simple level, it says in the Torah that it took a month, from the month of Adar to the month of Nisan, to raise enough funds from the Jewish people back in temple times in order to have the enough money necessary to contribute to the communal offerings. That's what it says in the Torah. And therefore each Jew would bring a half of a shekel. And we would tally up all the half a shekels and we would buy all of our communal offerings. However, there's a deeper message. And that comes with the fact that this is Rosh Chodesh Adar, the new month of Adar. And of course, in the month of Adar is the holiday of Purim. In this holiday of Purim, the Midrash tells us that at the time that Haman wanted to give Achashverosh, as it says in the Megillah, 10,000 silver talents, silver coins, to eradicate the Jewish people, the Midrash tells us that, you know what saved us? It says that with this half of a shekel that the Jewish people give, that will actually preemptively be the antidote to what Haman was doing. How is giving a half of a shekel an antidote to what Haman was trying to do to the Jewish people? Well, it says that Haman said to Achashverosh that there's a Jewish people that is scattered and separate. Yeah, and he was telling Achashverosh, you could get the Jewish people. You know why? I know you're scared of the Jewish people, Achashverosh, says Haman, because I know you think they're invincible, but they're actually not. At one point, there's only one thing that can make them not invincible: when they are mefuzar umefurad, which means scattered and separate. Separate doesn't mean just separate as people. It means they are separate emotionally. They were disconnected as a people. They weren't unified. Yeah? So you know what Esther says to the Jewish people? Esther says, when all the bad stuff was happening, Esther says, Lech kenosis kol Yehudim v'ksumu alai. Go and gather in all the Jewish people and fast for me. The main thrust of what she was saying, Lech kenosis kol Yehudim. Go and gather in all the Jewish people, meaning create unity. How did the Jewish people create unity? Yes, they all fasted, but they became brothers again. They created unity amongst themselves. And that was the main point of what was going on in the Purim story. And that's what Esther was trying to go by. Because the Jewish people, when they are unified, become invincible. What does this have to do with the half of a shekel? And why is the half a shekel the antidote to what Haman was saying to Achashverosh? Isn't it just a gathering of the Jewish people contributing to communal funds? Say the commentators, there's a deep lesson in the half a shekel. The half a shekel is when all the Jewish people come together to contribute. It's also a census of the Jewish people for how many Jews there are at the time. But more so, it's a half of a shekel. A half of a shekel means everybody's contributing something that shows a half. A half means that when they're all together, it becomes one. They are half to a bigger whole. All of us are Jewish people, and we should know that, yes, we are individuals, and we have our own families and this and that, but we are part of a bigger whole. Half of us is who we are individually, that's the half a shekel. But that half a shekel, when all gathered together, becomes a whole, and we become a Jewish community. And when we are a Jewish community and we're all together, we are invincible. It says, Misha nichnas Adar marbim b'simcha. When the month of Adar comes in, we increase our happiness. I think this is something that we could focus on to increase our happiness in the month of Adar. That the Jewish people, when we are unified, when we are together, we are unstoppable. And that is seen in the half a shekel, like we read in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Shkalim, or as the third Sefer Torah is being brought out. And also, we see in the Purim story that the unity of the Jewish people saved us. When the Jewish people united, that saved us. And that is something that we should take with us and be happy when we're reading this, when we're observing Shabbos together and reading the Torah portion and seeing the Jewish people contributing the half a shekel. Good Shabbos.